He's a punk, a fraud, a clown in the business suit of an actor. I've worked with legends, and I've worked with headaches, and some people just poison the room. At 81, Robert De Niro, two-time Academy Award winner, master of the method, and one of Hollywood's most revered figures, finally let the mask slip. Behind the calm demeanor, behind the deliberate performances, lies a man who's weathered decades of creative tension, bruised egos, and clashes with fellow actors, and now, for the first time, he's naming names, from on-set feuds that went nuclear to icy silences that lasted decades. These aren't just petty disagreements. These are battle scars from a lifetime in the business. Here are the 5 actors Robert De Niro hated working with the most, and the stories will shock you. In 1987, Angel Heart brought together 2 actors known for their raw intensity, Robert De Niro and Mickey Rourke. On screen, the result was mesmerizing. Off-screen, it was combustible. Rourke, a fiery method actor, idolized De Niro. He craved collaboration, connections, something that never came. According to Rourke, De Niro walked up to him before filming began and said coldly, "I think it's better if we don't talk." That was it. No rehearsal bonding, no camaraderie, just silence. For Rourke, it felt like rejection. Professionally suffocating, personally devastating. Years passed, but the wound didn't heal. When The Irishman began casting decades later, Rourke thought he might finally share the screen again with his old co-star. But that hope was crushed. The casting director allegedly told him, "Robert De Niro refuses to work with you." Rourke exploded in the press. "That little punk-ass De Niro, he's the reason I wasn't in The Irishman." The feud became legend, and De Niro, silent, his refusal said everything. 1982's The King of Comedy paired De Niro with comedy legend Jerry Lewis under the direction of Martin Scorsese. It was a perfect casting on paper. Lewis played the weary TV host. De Niro played his obsessed stalker. Their chemistry was electric. But behind the scenes, things were falling apart. "We hated each other," Lewis admitted years later. De Niro stayed in character. Even between takes, he stalked Lewis, improvised jarring moments. Lewis wasn't amused. He accused De Niro of violating boundaries. "He made me feel unsafe. And I don't like unsafe." There was something eerie about the tension. Lewis was playing himself, a celebrity hounded by madness, and De Niro was madness incarnate. Art and reality blurred. The film became a cult classic, but neither actor looked back with fondness. "Was it worth the misery?" Lewis asked. His silence afterward answered the question. The score should have been a crowning moment. De Niro, the heir to method acting, sharing the screen with the Godfather himself, Marlon Brando. But Brando was no longer the actor he once was. He was erratic, defiant. He mocked director Frank Oz, calling him Miss Piggy, refused rehearsals, and flat-out ignored direction. Caught in the middle, De Niro became a reluctant mediator. He'd translate Oz's instructions to Brando in whispers, coaching the legend through scenes, just to keep the movie on track. Brando's disrespect weighed heavily. He wasn't just De Niro's co-star, he was his idol. And now, De Niro had to babysit him. The film was finished. The performances were smooth, but behind the scenes, chaos. Brando never made another theatrical film. He died 3 years later. For De Niro, it was a painful memory dressed in professionalism. Joker was dark, daring, and divisive. Joaquin Phoenix played Arthur Fleck, a man spiraling into madness. De Niro played Murray Franklin, the polished talk show host representing society's judgment. Off-screen, the tension was real. De Niro insisted on a traditional table read. Phoenix refused. He didn't rehearse. He didn't connect. He kept to himself. Tell him he's an actor and he's got to be there, De Niro allegedly told director Todd Phillips. Phoenix reluctantly agreed to a private read-through at De Niro's office. It was brief, cold, barely civil, but something shifted. When they finally met on set, the tension melted just enough. The scene they shot together, the infamous live interview, was explosive, chilling, iconic. Todd Phillips later said they were both right. One needed freedom, the other needed structure. And together, they created magic. They may never work together again. But for one moment, their conflict gave birth to greatness. It wasn't just actors De Niro clashed with. Sometimes, it was the world of publicity itself. Talk show hosts like Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, and David Letterman all struggled to draw him out. But no one had a harder time than British host Graham Norton. "He's a benign presence," Norton once said with a half smile. It wasn't an insult, it was a resignation. De Niro on a talk show is nothing like De Niro on screen. No stories, no jokes, no charm, just quiet, brief replies. He doesn't banter, he endures. Even Norton, the master of disarming celebrities, couldn't get him to play along. De Niro didn't laugh, didn't riff. He simply didn't engage. It was like interviewing a turtle, Letterman once quipped, but maybe that's the point. De Niro refuses to become a product. He gives everything to the Roland, nothing outside of it. To him, performance is sacred, and promotion is just noise.